Hello, hello, welcome everybody. This is Jonathan Milligan, ready for today's session. So glad you're here and hope you're ready to learn. And looks like people are already saying hello in the chat. Got Debbie here. Hey, Debbie. Fern's here. There's a bunch more of you in the room. Go ahead and say hello. And I want to make sure you guys can hear me and see the screen okay today. And I hope you're ready to take some notes. So we are going to be talking about today how to start, run, and operate your blog as a business. Now listen, we've got a lot to cover, and I'm actually going to be teaching you today over the next hour what probably took me 5 years to figure out, honestly. So you're going to be able to speed up the process for yourself just by kind of borrowing the last several years of experience, learning from other mentors, reading good books, sometimes doing things the wrong way to figure out what was right. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So whether you're just getting started, whether you've already started, you can go back and set up your business correctly. And also you're going to get a glimpse on what it's like to run your business and steward your business well on the operations side of your business and how to run it. So as you grow, you will be doing things correctly and you'll avoid a lot of the mistakes that people fall into and even some of the traps that I fell into when I was getting started. So it looks like we got a good group in here. So hello to Debbie and Gina and Marissa and Heather and Janet and Fern and Jody and Kinsey and Brian and Ron and Lynn and Sam and Michael and Nancy and Robin, Peter, just keeps going. So glad you guys are here with us live. Hope you're able to settle in with us, spend some time with us. If you guys have any questions, all you gotta do is click on the little bubble right next to where you type in the chat. Click on that bubble, it'll turn it into a question. So if you come with questions already today, you can go ahead and submit those. It'll help separate it for me on the admin side between the chat and actual questions, and I won't miss your question. We are going to be providing you the slides. It'll be with the recording inside of Fast Track Lab. So there's no need to have to write a bunch down, but I would strongly urge you to take notes. And here's why. Because we remember things better than when we just kind of sit there and maybe get distracted with checking out Facebook. I know I probably just caught some of you, right? But you're checking out Facebook while you're kind of listening to me. And I want you to be here. I want you to be active. I want you to learn this information because it's really going to help you to know the business side. And this is why a lot of people fail is, okay, so what happens when things begin to take off? What happens when things start to happen for you, or you start figuring out a way to earn money? What do you do with that money? How do you handle it? How do you invest so that you can grow more? And those sort of things. Look at Nancy says, I'm not seeing or hearing anything. Nancy, it might be on, sometimes it's based on your own connection. So I would say jump out and jump back in. Looks like Nancy said, okay, found you. Janet says, evidently it's only working on YouTube. Let me make sure you guys are able to see me okay. So hold on. And looks like you guys can. So hopefully, for some reason, it's not showing up for you. So it looks like you guys are saying you can only see it on YouTube, and it's not showing up here, huh? Well, I know we're definitely recording, so if somebody could maybe post a link for you guys in here to be able to watch it over on YouTube, and we'll try to figure out what the problem is. But we're definitely are recording, and I could tell my sound's coming through. So let me see if I can find that link for you to see if you can. get it real quick, and then we'll get underway in our chat here. All right, let's see here. Okay, so sorry about this, guys. Not sure what's going on here. There's the link. And let me know, again, looks like some people have already posted it. Here it is again if you need it. But what I'd encourage you to do is still keep this window open so that you can communicate and have chat with us. But at the same time, we're going to keep rolling with this because you guys are already in here. I don't want to get out and then you guys miss me and not be able to communicate. So you may have to have 2 browsers open today. Sorry about the challenge and the difficulty here. But have that link, you can click on that link, have that open up separate in a separate video, or separate browser, I should say. And then at the same time, go ahead and participate in the chat here so that we can kind of work together. So sorry for those of you that are experiencing that. Looks like some people can hear and see and others can't. We'll try to get to the bottom of that, but we are recording, so you will be able to watch the replay for today. All right. Okay, so again, today we're going to talk about how to start, run, and operate your blog as a business. So if you hang out for the next 45 minutes with us, what is it that you're going to learn? I always want to be very clear about what you're going to get out of the time that you're going to invest, because you could choose a lot of things to do with your time right now, but you've chosen to spend it here. And so I want you to know what you're going to get out of this. First, how to properly set up your blog as a business. Number 2, we're going to talk about best practices at managing your finances as a business. Number 3, we're going to talk about how to handle the operations side of your business and much more. So we are just going to dive in. We're going to get started. Now, you might say, well, where does this fit in the blogging success pyramid? I would call this level 3. So you certainly can and you will learn something if you're just now getting started, because we are going to talk about some stuff to do when you're first getting started. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about too is going to include building processes or looking at the operation side of what you're doing or how to handle finances. But this is good information for you to know as your business continues to grow. Okay, and you can, if you set it up the way that I'm going to be explaining here in the next couple minutes, you will be able to have the structure in place to make it easy to grow. And we'll kind of get into that, and I'll give you some examples. Now, of course, I need to make a disclaimer, as always. The information in this training is intended for your general knowledge. You should seek the advice of a professional on your specific accounting and tax situation. So I'm going to give you some specifics and things that I've learned. Then at the same time, I want you to understand that your situation may be different. It really depends on a lot of different factors. Type of business you have, what state you live in, things like that. Okay? All right. Lynn says, messages, watch this video on YouTube. Yeah, if you just click on that link, Lynn, it'll take you to the actual video. For some of you, you're having a hard time with that. So looks like we still got people coming in that are having problems. So if somebody would let Paula know in the chat what is going on here, maybe that'll help. So let me just type that in there actually. Okay, let's jump in. So hopefully let me know if you guys are still with me. I want to make sure I'm not just talking to nobody. So if you guys are hearing me, you're seeing the screen, you should see the set up your blog as a business. If you guys can see that, somebody let me know in the chat that we are good and that you can, in fact, hear and see me. That would be awesome. All right, so when you set up your blog as a business, there's kind of 5 key decisions that I would say you're going to need to think about. And by us kind of tackling these, it's going to help you to better understand that this big old business thing or running my own business doesn't have to be as scary as it feels like. Because there's a lot of it that we feel like is scary, and that is related to taxes, getting and paying possibly employees, finances, and a lot of that stuff feels scary, but it doesn't have to be. So let's tackle these kind of one by one. First, sole proprietor or LLC. So when you decide to be in business, you are a sole proprietor. You don't have to go down and necessarily register to be a sole proprietor. You're just in America, you're in business when you say you're in business and you've started. Okay? So that's how a lot of people start out. But it may make sense for you to decide to become a LLC, a single member LLC. Now, here's a few reasons why it's a good idea to think about becoming a single member LLC. Now, it will cost you between $100, $250, depends on your state. And in just a second, I'm going to share with you how to do that. But it's a one-time cost to kind of get you set up, and you're registered with your state, and you're a single member LLC. So first reason is it's simple to run. So, there's not percentage of ownership that needs to be divided up. You still get to use a single tax form, and it's pretty simple to run. So that's the first reason. Number 2 is it gives you legal protection. So again, I'm not a lawyer, but I do understand that, if you're a sole proprietor and for some reason your business gets sued, your personal assets are exposed. When you have an LLC, if for some reason you get sued, they can't take your house, your car, all that. It's just a suit that's filed against the LLC or the business, not for you personally. And then finally, another good reason to just get the LLC is it proves to the IRS that you mean business. So for a lot of people, you are able to, for many people, now it depends again on some factors, but for example, in my business, I'm able to get a kind of a tax deduction on having my business run out of my home. And when you have an LLC, you show that you're a little bit more serious. And so it helps you with things like writing that off or writing off expenses like a computer, a desk, all those expenses, which can help to lower your tax burden. So you say, okay, do I have to do the LLC to be officially a business? No, you can operate as a sole proprietor. I think I did for the first 2 years that I was blogging, but I did somewhere in there decide to make it official with an LLC. There's a lot of ways to do that, but one of the easiest is just to use Rocket Lawyer, and I'll post this link over in the chat because this shows you how to start an LLC. You can just follow this little questionnaire and select your state, go through the questionnaire, and then you'll have the official documentation to make yourself official. Okay, so looks like some of you are saying I went mute for a second, but you hear me now. So I'm still not sure why some of you are having issues, but we're going to keep rolling through this because you'll get access to the recording. So if you can and you're able to, stay with me here. Okay, so that is basically how you start the LLC. And again, this first part, I would call it optional, but it's certainly something to consider. Okay, next thing. Do you use your own Social Security number or do you use an EIN number? So again, when I first started, I started with my Social Security number because you can start your business, again, as a sole proprietor with your Social Security number. But the problem that I had was, and maybe some of you have already experienced this, is if you start signing up for affiliate programs, And then, as a year goes by or 2 years goes by, you start realizing you start discovering more and more affiliate programs that you want to be a part of. Before you know it, your personal Social Security number is in lots of different places, and that's not always very secure for you. And I started realizing that and thinking, man, I need to change this. I need to do something about this. And that was about the same time I was doing my LLC. I decided I'm just going to get an EIN number. Now, an EIN number, there are people out there who will charge you $50, $80 to get you an EIN number. Now, the EIN number basically stands for Employee Identification Number. Again, this is for the US. It might be different for you that are international, but it's actually free to get. And here's a link. And I'll post this in the chat. I'll put the link below the recording as well. But you can actually fill out this application and get an EIN number. And then you can start using that EIN number with the affiliate programs you're a part of. When it comes time for tax time, you can use your EIN number. If somebody asks you for a W-9, you can give them your EIN number. And again, we'll get into W-9 and 1099 in just a second. So don't let this confuse you, but it's free to get. And it, again, is for people who operate and have a business. And I'll put the link in the chat for you. So again, it's free to get, so you might as well get it. And then you're not having to use your Social Security number when it comes to working with partners or when it comes to working with affiliate programs, things like that. All right, so let me jump back over to our slide here. All right, so we've talked about the sole proprietor and the LLC. We've talked about Social Security number or EIN number. Now let's talk about personal checking or business checking. Now there are for a lot of freelancers out there, there's like a QuickBooks self-employment where you can just run your business out of your personal checking, but it can be extremely complex because you need to be able to identify and tag expenses that are for your business, because you actually can get deductions, tax deductions on your business expenses. And so even if you're just getting started and you say, I really don't have any income coming in, I recommend, and just like my CPA recommended to me a long time ago, to go ahead and open up a business checking account. There are free business checking accounts. Go out there and discover them, find out one that is free, that doesn't cost you each month to have one open. But then all those expenses that you have, and even money you put into the business in the beginning to keep it afloat before you start making the profit, it's going to help you later on when it comes to tax time, because you'll be able to claim a lot of those expenses. You can claim education expenses. You can claim traveling and going to conferences, or if you pay to be part of a coaching program or something like that. You can set it up so that you can claim your business expenses, which is going to help you later on with taxes. So you can claim a lot of that for your taxes. So I recommend, again, getting business checking. So just as a quick recap on this, setting up your blog as a business, if you had the ideal, I would say it is to have a single member LLC, an EIN number, and a business checking account. All right. Next, spreadsheet or QuickBooks Online. So when I first started, I started with just a simple spreadsheet, and I used that spreadsheet to kind of track my expenses and some of the income that I was receiving. The problem is it becomes a little bit more complicated for tax time, because we're going to get into Schedule C here in the next question. But it's probably easier if you start on something like QuickBooks Online. Now you can start with, I think I started with QuickBooks Self-Employment. I think it costs between $8 and $10 a month. But the neat thing about QuickBooks Self-Employment, now today I have the more robust online QuickBooks, the regular version, but starting with the QuickBooks Self-Employment version online will allow you to do simple things like categorize your expenses so that you can print out a Schedule C. Now, Schedule C is what you're going to want to turn in to, again, we're talking in the US here. Schedule C is a form that you're going to put together with your regular tax form, and it will claim the expenses. It would help you see the income and expenses that you had for your business. Okay? So that's why it's a good idea, because it'll automatically spit out a Schedule C for you if you're using the QuickBooks Self-Employment. Now, you can't just fill it out manually, but that can be incredibly cumbersome. So that's what I would recommend you start out. Okay, 1099 is what somebody will give to you, typically if you've earned more than $600 in a year, but sometimes they send it to you if you've earned less. And the 1099 is the miscellaneous income that you receive from affiliates, from promoting someone else's launch, whatever it is. And then what you do is you kind of add that into your tax form to figure out your taxes. Now, we're going to get into the finances in a little bit more detail, but that is how you set up your blog as a business. And that is, and a W-9, which I don't have written down here. Probably good to write that down. W-9 is just a simple one-page form that, you can get a copy, just Google W-9 form. And what you do is you put your name on there, you put your EIN number, and then you sign the bottom of it. And if, for example, if you were an affiliate of Blogging Your Passion University, which you can be, and if you are not a part of the affiliate program, then reach out to me and be happy to let you be a part of that. And you earn more than $600 a year from promoting my courses, my accountant, my CPA, would ask you for a W-9. And so that form you could keep on your computer, and anytime someone asks for it, you could send it to them. And that is something that I would keep on file. And then when it comes closer to tax time or beginning of the year, I would send you a 1099 on, hey, Heather, you earned $650 from courses, and so that is what you're going to need to add into your miscellaneous income on your tax form. Again, I'll tell you how I handle the taxes and kind of help you know how to handle that so it's not so scary. Okay, so that's kind of the boring stuff. Hopefully you guys are still with me. Let me know in the chat, hey, I'm still here, so that I can know that there's a reason why a lot of people don't talk about this stuff, is because it can feel kind of boring and technical, but it's important that you take these steps. And so again, now you know the kind of the accounting and tax side a little bit better. And looks like you guys still here, here. Awesome, good. Yes, need this, says Robin, good. So those are the essentials. Again, you can operate your business as a sole proprietor with your own Social Security number and just fill in your 1099s. You can do that. But again, I would recommend at least EIN number. If you want to go to the next level, get EIN number, an LLC, and your own business checking account. And then think about an accounting program. You say, well, I'm not even making income. Do I really need an accounting program? Again, you're going to be able to claim your expenses. So your hosting expenses, your expenses for being in Fast Track Lab, or in being involved in education and learning. As a business owner, you're able to get tax deductions. Trips that you take, your travel. If you go to a coffee shop, or you go to Panera Bread and you're going there to write blog posts, and it's the sole reason of going there to work, you can claim your food that you go there for. Or maybe you're meeting up with other people as a little bloggers group, and you buy food while you're there, and you're there to discuss your business and talk about your business. You can pay for your food through your business. And those expenses can be tax deductible, even if you're having to, as an owner, put money into the business to pay for those expenses, and you're waiting for profit. You can still claim a lot of that. Or if you buy a computer if you're buying a printer, if you're making investments into your business, you can do that sort of thing. So this is the stuff that I didn't know when I first started that I wish someone explained to me, because I know at least the first year or two of my business, I was not claiming the stuff that I should be. And also, as a side note, I know some people use credit cards, some people don't like to use debt or credit. But if you do have a personal credit card and you pay for, a conference or a trip or something like that, you can still claim the expense. Now, what you can't claim and you don't get deduction for is when you're paying off your credit card. That's more of an owner's pay, because you would be double dipping or taking it out, trying to take advantage of the system twice. But if you do have, even this year, if you've paid for some things for your business from a credit card, you can begin to claim that for your business and lower your taxes, your tax burden. Okay. All right. So again, talk to your accountant. I'm going to introduce you to my CPA in just a minute. If you want a CPA or want to know a CPA who understands this online business world, I will show you who it is, and so you can know for yourself. All right, let's keep moving. Got more we want to share. All right, next, we're going to talk about best practices with your finances. This is another tool that I wish I would have known about when I first started. I started setting up my business this way probably 2 years ago, 18 months to 2 years ago now. And it has been the most amazing thing that I've ever done. I'm so glad that I followed it. There's a great book that I recommend that you have, and it's called Profit First. Order it, get a copy, read it. And it is from an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur who had great successes and then big crashes. And at the end of the day, he thought, I want to operate in a more healthy way. And why is it that as a business do we have the traditional profit minus expenses, or we should say income minus expenses equals our profit? Why can't we flip the script and have income minus profit that we actually take out of our business equals expenses? And that's the essence of what the book is about. So I'm going to attempt to give you like the abbreviated version and then go read the book for yourself. So here's what you would do. Remember, we talked about creating a business checking account. Ask your bank, or if you say today, after today, I'm going to go open up a business checking account, ask them this question. If you can have at least 5 different accounts, whether they're checking accounts or savings accounts or money market account, it doesn't matter, as long as you're able to move money back and forth between it. What you are going to want to do is open up a business checking account where you can have 5 accounts in your business. And this is in a way, if you know Dave Ramsey or some of the other money experts out there who talk about envelope system, in a way, this is how this operates. So it helps you to be disciplined and know how to correctly operate your business, okay? So the first account is an income account. This is usually a checking account, and you're going to want to have any of the money that you're making flow into this account. So if you're using Stripe or PayPal or Gumroad or some other system, you're going to want the money to actually go into this account. But you do not want to have expenses coming out of that same account. Ron says, what's the name of the book again? It's Profit First. And so money is going into that account, and that's the only reason it's there. It's just to accumulate the money. And I'll explain what you're going to do with it in just a minute. The next account is a profit account. It's a good discipline, even if you start at 1%, to be setting aside a little bit of money that you earn into a profit account. And that's the whole concept of the book, is we should be setting aside a profit in our business first, and not if it happens to be left, what happens to be left over. Okay, the third account is OpEx, which is short for operating expenses account. So this would maybe be another checking account. And the operating expenses account is where all the expenses are coming out. Okay. And again, in just a minute, I'm going to tell you how you divide up the money and how that works, but just stay with me here for a second. So the operating expense account is where, my hosting fees, Fast Track Lab, being a member here, if you're paying for other services that you're using, hosting, video hosting, podcasting, whatever expenses that you currently have in your business, the food, travel, whatever it is, it would come out of that operation expense account. Fourth is the owner's pay account. And the owner's pay account is the money that you're actually going to take out of the business for actually being a business owner. And then lastly is the tax account. Okay, so we've got these 5 accounts: income, profit, OpEx, owner's pay, and tax account. Now, how do we actually use this in our business? All right, so here's the nutshell of what the book teaches. Twice a month, and he recommends the 10th and 25th of the month, and that's what I do. Twice a month, I will sit down and say, okay, what money is in my income account? So if there's $1,000 in there, if there's 5,000, if there's 10,000, it doesn't matter. I look at the money that's in the income account, and I'm going to completely deplete the money in the income account, because again, it's just for money to come in. And I'm going to divide it up into these categories. Now, the categories listed here, the book just has it as a recommended guidelines. This really depends on a lot of factors. How big your business is, what your business is about, if you're just getting started. So if you have money coming into your business right now, you do not have to start at these percentages. You could just, actually what the book does, and even if you go to the Profit First website, it actually shows you how you can do an assessment of what you're spending now, so that you can get a better idea of a percentage to start now and work towards these ideal percentages. Okay, so again, these are just for example's sake. So again, if I have, let's say, $10,000 in there, I would put 5% of that into a profit account. I would put 30% of that into my operating expenses account. I would put 50% of that into my owner's pay account. And then I would put 15% into my tax account. So hopefully you guys are still with me, and I haven't lost you yet. But I'm going to tell you what you're going to do next, okay? So the 10th and 25th, you take the money that's in the income account and you divide it into these 4 different accounts that you have, just like using the envelope system. So that way you're not tempted to be using up money that you could have ready to pay taxes. And that way you're making sure that you're paying yourself in the business, and you're making sure that you're keeping your operating expenses low, so they're not taking over everything else, and that you're actually setting aside a little bit of profit in your business. All right. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So let's get real practical here. So let's specifically look at the owner's pay account. So what I do with the owner's pay account is, what you want to do is actually pay yourself a salary. So those are for those of you who you've got income coming in, and so money's in there. How do I operate it? Well, here's just an example. Let's say I put $2,000 into the owner's pay account. I do exactly what we did back up here. And let's say there was 4,000 in there. It's the 10th of the month, and 2,000 goes into the owner's pay account. Okay, so if I've decided that my paycheck for budget reasons is $1,200, meaning as a goal, I want to take out $1,200 in my business twice a month, then that would leave $800 in that account as a buffer. Now, the reason why it's good to have this kind of discipline, and why it's been helpful for me, is because there may be times where you make more than other times of the month where you make less. And so if I do happen to make less in this example, then there's 800 as a buffer. I may only need to put 400 more in there to be paying myself on a regular budget in a regular way. It kind of creates its own little emergency fund or its own little buffer to help you in good times and bad times. That way, you're not taking $2,000 in this example. You're not taking $2,000, and the next time you're taking $400. You have leveled it out a little bit. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, profit account. So here's what you do with the profit account. It builds up. Let's say it's just 1 to 5%, but it builds up. And so if you do that consistently for 3 months, at the end of the quarter, then you get to give yourself a quarterly bonus because you were disciplined in setting aside profit. And so what Mike recommends, the author, is to write yourself a bonus check of 50%. So if there is $500 sitting in your profit account after 3 months, then you are able to take $250 and go out to eat and go do something fun with your family, spend that on a project or something you're working on as a reward to you for owning a business. Okay. Sandra says that she lost me. Anybody else let me know if you guys can still hear me okay over in the chat? Make sure you guys are still with me. So the profit account just allows you to be able to, again, be able to pay yourself a quarterly bonus. Look, even if it's $100 in there and you write yourself $50, a check for $50, then go and take your spouse out to eat. It's just a good discipline. It's a great thing to do in your business. And since I've been operating this way, it has been awesome. Hey, last one. And then we're going to go to the operation side, is the tax account. Now, I wish I would have operated like this again in the first 2 years. It would definitely helped because I didn't operate this way. I had to kind of get to the end of the year and do my taxes and then say, gulp, look how much money I've got to pay for my taxes. And that wasn't the best way for me to operate that way. And so Profit First has helped me in this way. So again, if you remember, go back to our example. In this example, you would set aside 15%. And so if you did that twice a month, then when it came time to do quarterly taxes, you would just pay or write a check to the IRS for the money that you set aside into that tax account. So that tax account is like off limits. So I don't dip into that tax account. That tax account stays there until it's time for me to write quarterly taxes. And then whatever's in there is what I pay. And again, you're going to have to look up the dates, but typically the dates happen on April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th. So by paying what is in your tax account 4 times a year, when it comes time to do your taxes in April, you may even get money back, or it's going to be a lot less of a burden. You're not going to be looking at a $8,000 to $10,000 or more tax bill that you're trying to figure out, how in the world am I going to pay this? So that should help you with saying, you know what, this tax thing's not so scary because I'm following the Profit First system. And even if I've only earned $1,000 this year, it's my first time blogging, I've earned $1,000. I've at least set aside, in this example, $150, and I've paid that. And then if I take my expenses, I'm going to be good when it comes tax time. All right. So operate this way, whether or not you've got $100,000 or $500,000 or $2,000 coming into your business. All right. So we have covered so far setting up your business kind of from a structure standpoint. I've talked to you about what I believe is the best way to do finances. Oh, and before I forget, Profit First has become such a big phenomenon that the author actually created a program called Profit First Professionals, where CPAs can get certified in this process, and they can actually set you up and run this for you and help you do that. Lucky for me, my CPA was a profit first professional. And if you want to reach out to her, just go to vividnumbers.com. Vividnumbers.com. Her name's Erin Johnstone. And she understands the blogging and online space. She gets affiliate. She understands and works with PayPal. She knows where you're coming from. I can't tell you, when I first started trying to do taxes and I was reaching out to people here locally, I could not find a CPA who understood this world. They didn't understand affiliate income or a lot of the stuff, a lot of the terminology that I was using. Erin gets it. She knows it. And she is who I use. And she has different levels of services. So you can use her just for tax time, or you can use her as a monthly bookkeeper. So reach out to her. Go to vividnumbers.com if you want to talk to her. And like I said, she is also a profit first professional. All right. Okay, so let's jump in the last one. You guys are doing great. You're here with me. Again, this is a very technical class. So Nancy said, I started reading Profit First last week. Awesome, Nancy. Peter said, let's see. Peter says, happened to us years ago, and my wife was being paid as a contract worker. Nothing like opening up a tax bill for $11,500. Set us back for a year. So this is great advice. Yeah. And again, it's not super scary if you get a big tax bill. A lot of people say, well, man, that's really scary. For most people, you're able to get on a monthly payment plan, but it comes with some extra fees and things that can take a while to pay off. It's just better if you do the way that I'm doing it now with Profit First and paying the quarterly taxes. Okay. All right, guys, last one. We're going to move into the operations side of the business, and I'm going to teach you what took me a while to learn. So my whole business is run with 5 systems, and I'm going to share those with you. And really what helped me to identify this is I read a book called Scaling Up, and it said almost all businesses, whether they are huge multi-million-dollar organizations or small mom and pop organizations, they typically will have 4 to 9 key processes that makes their business work. And what you need to do as a business owner is to identify what those key processes are that make things work, and then figure out who's in charge of each of those processes. Now, in the beginning, you're in charge of all of it. But as you're going to see in a minute, I'm going to show you my organizational structure and what I'm moving towards. And by setting up your online business, the operations of your business, how I'm going to share with you, it's going to help you as you grow, because you're going to be able to scale and grow this thing. It's going to go from you being aware of 5 processes to actually having teams with each of these processes. Okay? So let's jump in. All right, so for me, the first 3 is what I call the front end of my business: awareness, content, and profit. So awareness is, I have, and I'll show you just a second, it'll make more sense. But awareness is all about generating traffic and leads. You should have a process for, and a system for generating traffic and leads. That includes things like social media. You can put paid traffic in there, referral traffic, any traffic or anything to get leads. If that's running webinars, whatever it is. And actually coming up here later this month, I'm actually going to be doing a complete workshop on traffic. And if you want to get access to that, and maybe somebody can put this in the chat, it's bloggingyourpassion.com/traffic. bloggingyourpassion.com/traffic. We're going to be running some of these workshops to teach you guys this part of the system, and you'll be able to use some of that for yourself. Okay, content is the next one. Now, content is an important process for me because It is the heart of why I love this business, because I get to use my teaching gift. I get to use what I love best and give value first through text, audio, and video. And so text is blog post, audio would be podcast, video would be YouTube or something like that. And so producing content on a regular basis is an important key process, because here's why. The generating traffic and leads, you have to have something to actually attract the traffic and leads. Does that make sense? And so for me, that's what the content does, is it gives me something to go out and create awareness, a brand awareness with people, because I'm creating this great content, blog post or podcast or video, and I'm using that to attract the traffic and the leads. So this all works together. Okay, next is the profit part of my system, and that's really designed to convert leads into sales. We could also call this email marketing. So why an email list is so important to me is because that is where I build relationships, build trust, and let people know about the products and services that I have. The reason why you are here today is because you followed this process here. At some point, you became aware of me. And it may have been a piece of content I did, an interview that I did, a webinar that someone let you know about, a virtual summit, some type of a content that that attracted you from wherever you were to getting on my list. And then from my list, you found out about Fast Track Lab, and you're here today and learning with me. That same process can work for every single one of you here. So you are able to follow the same process. I need a process or a system for creating great content. Then I got to get the word out. And then once I get people on a list, I need to have ways to convert leads into sales. Now, the back end of my business is I have what I call customer success, which is about getting customers results. That has to do with customer service, and also managing your paid programs, coaching programs, being here with you in this Fast Track Lab. Those sort of things is part of that customer success system of my business, because I want people who spend money with me to get results. And that's what I'm after. And that's what drives me every single day. And that's why I have a mission. We have a mission here at Blogging Your Passion. I'm going to show you just in a second. To help 1,000 bloggers go full-time in the next 5 years. And so that's a key process for us. And then finally, I call it the Business Mojo team. And this is just areas that support the business. So my CPA would be in this section. Anything related to doing analytics or data to see how are we tracking month to month would kind of go inside of this Business Mojo to support the business. Now that you kind of see these 5 key systems, and you can take these and use these as well, I want you to see what it looks like from kind of an organizational chart. So I'm in the process of growing my team here at Blogging Your Passion. And I don't have positions filled for every single one of these, but I would say 50% of these, I have key people that are helping me in these areas. And this is what it looks like to build it over time. And again, if you're feeling overwhelmed, just hang on, because in a minute, I'm going to share with you some very specific takeaways on how do I start if it's just me. But I want you to see how these processes can work out. So for a content team, you can have a content manager, someone who edits your audios and video, someone who handles your graphics, or it could be the same person. The awareness team, you've got social media manager, partnerships manager, paid traffic, SEO. Those are really driven towards the 4 or 5 key types of traffic that you can get. The profit team would include something like an email promotions manager, a promotions calendar, an email marketing manager that handles a lot more of actually sending the emails. The customer success team would include maybe 2 people who kind of handle support tickets that come in. I like to use Help Scout. A community manager would be somebody who kind of helps you manage the courses or the membership sites or the private Facebook groups that you might have. And then the Business Mojo team will include like your CPA, a technical person that could help you with some technical parts of your business. And again, those business metrics to see how your business is doing. So again, your organization may never look like this, or it may look like part-time or using outsourcing services. But regardless, you want to be working these 5 processes. Now, maybe in the beginning, you don't have a whole lot of customer service, so it's not really a key process yet. And maybe in the beginning, you don't have a lot of income, so the Business Mojo team is not really needed just yet. But you will need the first 3, the front end of your business: content, awareness, and profit. And you're going to own some of that, but you can begin to get people to help you in those key areas. Okay? All right. Last thing, we're going to bring this down to very practical. Okay? So what do I do, or how do I start this, Jonathan, if it's just me? That's probably what you're asking right now. Jonathan, this is great. This has been helpful. This has helped me see like where I can be in the next 2 to 5 years, but it's just me right now. I'm not making a lot of money. How do I do this? Okay, let me give you some practical things that you need to be doing now. First, I want to challenge you to create a mission and value statement. Now, I've walked through this process and I've done this for my business here at Blogging Your Passion. And some of this I got challenged to do because I heard a quote from Michael Hyatt, who says, if your dream doesn't require a team, then your vision's not big enough. That was convicting to me when I heard that probably at least over a year ago. I had a few part-time help and this and that, and that sort of thing. But I really felt like a lot of what I was doing was centered around me 100%. And so it pushed me to think, man, I need to have a mission that's bigger than me, that scares me and excites me at the same time. And yet I want to have some values that hold true to the culture that I've tried to create here at Blogging Your Passion. And so what I did is I created this document, and I'll show this to you real quick. And it's been incredibly inspiring to do this, and it's something you should consider doing as well. So our mission statement here at Blogging Your Passion is to help 1,000 bloggers go full-time in the next 5 years. If you're listening to my voice right now and you are obviously a part of Fast Track Lab, then you, my friend, are included in that. That's my mission, and I hope you'll go with me on this journey because I want to see results in the people who follow me and my message. I want to get that for you and to help you and be a partner alongside of you. At the same time, I have 9 core values, and I've worked on these over time, but it's like, what is it that's important to me? So that when I add people to my team, we can keep the culture the same. And so I just have a few things here. I won't go into all of it, but things like the simplest solution's the best solution so that we keep things moving along. Constant, never-ending improvement keeps us competitive. We never want to settle. Speed of implementation is the fastest path to clarity. Don't sit around and wait to get clarity, but actually implement in things you learn. In fact, I want to challenge you right now. Before you kind of end your time with me here, I want you to write down 3 action steps that you can do before the week is out. Maybe you need to go open up a checking account for your business. Maybe you need to get that EIN number. Maybe you need to buy that Profit First book. But identify 3 things, 3 action steps that you need to do right now. Don't just learn and not take action. Okay? Extraordinary results require extraordinary effort. We aim to out-teach the competition. I'm real passionate about teaching and putting it all out there, and teaching and helping people grow in their understanding and get results is important. Choose integrity over riches. The way we treat each other matters as much as the things we accomplish. That's important to me. Always steward well the talents and treasures God has given us. I want to be a good steward when it comes to my talents. I want to be a good steward to become, to handle the treasures, the income that I've been given. And those are important to me. And then finally, remain playful. I put that there because I never want to take things too serious. I want to enjoy what we do and the things that we work on. That's why I have blogging your passion, because I think you should work on stuff that you genuinely love and enjoy. Life's too short to not wake up and have passion each and every day. Okay, back over here. So start and create a mission and value statement. Number 2, again, if it's just you, start doing this now. Start creating checklists for what you do. Or even better, if you say, I don't know what I'm doing, maybe that's you, then use our online business playbook. So again, this is inside Fast Track Lab, online business playbook. Go there and begin downloading those checklists and use those checklists. Those are checklists I use in my business. So they're proven. You can use them and start. But you're going to have stuff that you do the way that you do it. So definitely begin creating checklists. Now you say, how do I do that? I like to use a piece of software. I think I paid $40 for it one time, and it's called Clarify It. So you got to go to clarify-it.com. And it's a software you actually download to your computer, but it's real easy to create checklists. You can turn them into PDF. You can save them on Dropbox or Evernote. And then you begin to develop this. I think you should do this before you ever begin to hire anybody, because there's nothing worse than hiring somebody and you're spending all your time trying to explain to them what to do, and you start feeling like, well, I should just do it myself. Well, part of the problem is not them, it's you, because it's not fair to them to be reading your mind or try to remember what you said. So begin creating checklists. So you can hand them this checklist and say, follow this repeatable process. This is what I do every time I socially promote my latest blog post. And this is what I want you to start doing every single time a new blog post goes live. Okay. You can also use sweetprocess.com. It does cost a monthly fee, but I know a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine love to use sweetprocess.com to create their checklist. You can add your team members, that sort of thing. Ron says, can I use some of your core values? Sure, Ron, you're welcome to use if they resonate with you. But I would say, you are going to be a unique person the way you approach your business. And so make sure you influence some of your worldview and the way that you see things into your own. But you're welcome to use some of mine if it resonates with you. Okay, last 2. Leverage outsourcing services to start. Now, if you go to 301, those of you who have access to Blogging Your Passion University 301, you will see several of the outsourcing services I used in the beginning before I started hiring more individuals to work with me. And start leveraging that first, because it's easier to kind of go into. In fact, in Fast Track Lab, you can go watch the class I did on Fancy Hands. Fancy Hands was one of the first outsourcing services I started using. I think I paid $30 a month, and I got so many number of tasks, and I gave them those tasks to do things for me. And I even gave them some of the checklists that I created so they could follow the step-by-step checklist. So again, that's why you need to create the checklist. And then finally, and this again comes from the Profit First book, he recommends, as a general rule, and again, your business may vary, it might be different according to your business, that when it comes to adding a full-time employee besides yourself, that you should add a full-time employee, should say every, not ever, add a full-time employee for every $150,000 to $250,000 in revenue. So if you have $1 million business and you've got 4 to 6 full-time employees, then that's healthy. That's pretty good. So again, you don't have to have a full-time employee. You can certainly start by having part-time, using outsourcing services. I also like to use Upwork.com. So you can go to Upwork.com, post a job. Maybe it's one of the checklists you create. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. You can get somebody $15 a week to socially promote your latest blog post every single week. So that can be a way to get started without worrying about having full-time employees. So that is how this process works. So I know we covered a lot of information, but I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Was this helpful? I know for me, I didn't get this kind of education. This was non-existent. It wasn't there. I had to figure a lot of this stuff out myself. And also, I'd love to hear in the chat, just as a way to be accountable for those of you that are here with us live, give me some actionable takeaways. Give me at least one thing that you're going to do this week out of what you just heard. I'd love to hear some of what you said. Chelsea says, my husband and I loved your Impactpreneurs prayer. Awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. I wrote a prayer, and it's actually a prayer that I have in the front cover of my Moleskine notebook, and I like to pray that prayer each morning. You can check it out. It's actually, you should be able to get to it on the homepage, jonathanmilligan.com. It's an image that has a prayer. So check that out if you would like. I want to answer just a couple of questions. I know we're kind of at our time here, but if you guys are over in the chat, I'm going to scroll through and look at a few questions that we might have here. So while that's coming in, let's see here. Marissa says, can you use a separate checking account? Can you use a separate checking account, or do you suggest a business account? A business account needs a fictitious business name. I can do that, but do I need it? Yeah, Marissa, again, it depends. You do want to make sure, Marissa, that you have a simple system for being able to categorize your business expenses. So you could check out the QuickBooks Self-Employment because what it does is it will automatically add all the transactions from your checking account. And then you just go through it and say, this is personal, this is business, this is personal, this is business. And so it's used by a lot of freelancers who don't really have a separate business checking account just yet. And so using that QuickBooks Self-Employment version will give you that option. And then the business transactions that are left, it allows you to actually categorize them for tax deductions later. So hope that helps. Okay. Chelsea says, do you know if this is possible to have an online business account to have 5 different accounts? Business fees can add up very quickly, I've noticed. Yeah, so you can. Actually Google free business checking and you will find them. The place that I use currently was that way, or is that way, I should say, not was. But the bank that I'm using offers free business checking and allows me to have multiple accounts. And again, you might have to ask them in a way of, they may not let you have 5 checking accounts. They may allow you to have 2 checking accounts along with 2 savings accounts and then maybe 1 money market account. But just ask them. But you can Google free business checking and you'll be surprised. There are several places that will allow you to do that. So it can be done. Okay, scrolling through a few more questions. Ron says, what are the best outsourcing services for help with OptimizePress? Yeah, Ron, a friend of mine has had success with actually finding somebody on Upwork.com. So I think he posted a job and found a guy who is familiar with OptimizePress, and actually he gave him the project of actually completely setting up his course, password protecting his pages, and setting up his Stripe account. So he gave him all the content, and the videos, the things, but he had him set it up. He also has helped him with other parts of landing pages and different things. So I would probably, if I were in your shoes, I would go to upwork.com, post a free job, let them know you're looking for contract help with OptimizePress. And maybe if you have a specific task, you can put that in there and start getting some feedback of people who have experience working with OptimizePress. Sandra says, who do you use for to transcribe? So for transcription, Sandra, I like rev.com. I also use speechpad.com, but lately I've really liked rev.com because they have an iPhone app. And so you could actually speak into your iPhone and send them something. You can actually record your talk if you're doing a talk at a meetup or something, and you're the speaker. You could record it that way. You could give them a link to a video that you've recorded, and they'll transcribe it, and they're fast. So either one of those is who I like. Heather says, I listed some of the expenses that I can use to write off that I hadn't thought of. Yeah, actually, there's a book I picked up a couple years ago, and there's a new version that comes out each year. I forget what the title of it is because I don't have it right next to me, but it is the whole book is about legal business deductions. And I just went through it and highlighted things that I hadn't thought of before. So it's a good book. So let's see here. Lynn says, great clarifying info from the complex amount of stuff. Thank you, Lynn. Hopefully I gave it to you as practical as I can. I know it's kind of heavier information, but hopefully you had some fun learning some of it. Lynn's practical takeaway is to call the CPA to get the accounting started. Great. Awesome. Good to hear. And I think that's it. I don't see any more questions. So again, guys, sorry for some of you experiencing some of the video and audio problems. Not sure what happened there, but looks like for the most part, everyone was able to stay with us. And we're going to put this recording into the Fast Track Lab, so you guys can get access to that here pretty quickly. I'm going to put the slides in there as well. So that'll be all up within the next 24 hours. And again, I hope you'll take a moment and write down 3 practical takeaways that you can get done before the week is out from what you learned here today. Because this is, if you desire, and if one of your heart's desires is to work for yourself and operate a blog, whether it's in a speaking business, a coaching business, a writing type business, whatever it is, but you want to run your own business from home, then this is the stuff that you got to learn how to do. So hopefully it stretched you. Hopefully it was good for you and gave you some practical takeaways. So we're going to wrap things up. Thank you guys again for being here. Next week, we've got another checklist coming out in our online business playbook. And then the following week, we're going to have our open office hours call. If you've never been a part of one of those, come join us. It's very much focused on you because you bring the questions, and you'll learn from other people's questions because you'll be sitting there thinking, oh, I've had that question before, and I finally got the answer to it. So come participate, be a part of it. This is how you grow, and this is how you continue to build your business. So guys, thanks again for being here.